Hey guys, it's Tim with BleepinJeep. Today I'll be showing you how to install this rear XJ bumper from Affordable Offroad. Okay, well, with most installs you're going to have to remove something first. Obviously we'll be removing the rear bumper, and if you're working on a 97 to 01 Cherokee like I have, we're going to be removing these plastic bumper caps first. These things have a 10mm bolt on the rear end and a 1/4 inch bolt up front. Why Jeep did that, I don't know. In addition to the bolts, they also have a slide-in clip on the body that these just slide into. Conveniently, my 10mm bolts on both sides are absent, so that should make this go a little faster. With both of your bolts removed, these should just slide right off. Wow, it actually came off. With your end caps removed, even though it's still kind of hard to see, it'll give you a little bit better visibility as to what's holding your bumper to the mount. You have one bolt right here, that's a 15mm, and you can't quite see it, but along this flange further back on the same plane as this one, there is another 15mm bolt back there. Or there's 4 bolts that hold your mounts to the Jeep body, which can be removed, and that's where your new bumper is going to mount to. I'm going to try to remove the mounts and bumper intact as one piece. That's kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. That way my cross member frame tie-in unibody nonsense will be free, and I'll be ready to mount up the new bumper right to that without having to mess with the mounts. Still kind of a pain in the butt to get in there, but with regular ratchet and a regular socket, not a deep socket, there's just enough room to get a wrench in here behind the bumper and access the mounts that tie your bumper mounts into the unibody crossmember area. And they're on there nice and tight. They get a lot of road grime and water and all kinds of stuff. This happens to be a Canadian Jeep, or a Jeep that was originally first sold in Canada, and it's actually not that rusty. I've kind of lucked out, but it did see some significant winter use, and bolts back here, as well as some of the other bolts on the Jeep, are well secured into the vehicle. I did soak these in PB Blaster for about 15 minutes or so before I started undoing them. Even so, it's a pain in the butt. If you're patient enough, I'm sure you can do it. Come on. You know, this thing's 117 foot-pounds. Okay. The game is about to change. So this bumper is freaking on there. I don't have the 15mm sockets in a 1/2 inch fitting that I need to use my breaker bar, and I don't have an adapter right now because I broke it doing this sort of thing. So I'm not able to get this rear bumper off, but I think I have an idea. Remember this from my hood vent video? Now, if you want to preserve your bumper to sell them on Craigslist or whatever, this is probably not the solution for you. This bumper is already jacked up a little bit. So, without further ado, I am going to punch a hole right here, big enough to fit a socket through, and see if I can remove the shell from the mount. And hopefully we can do that. And then I might have to zip wheel off the bottom bolts. But so be it, this thing will be off and free. Alright, here we go. Alright, there it is. That's what I was after. Okay, this thing's kicking my rear. Ended up making that hole bigger so I can get this thing a little bit flatter. And it's stiff as heck. Must be getting loose. Good. You know what's amazing is the rest of this Jeep is literally rust free. It's just these bumper bolts. It's crazy. Somehow I got that thing out of there. So the upper bumper mount is a stud from the backside with a nut over it, which is this piece here. And I got it off somehow. Do the same thing on the other side, but this thing is so tight on there, I'm gonna have to put the socket in my vise to get the nut off because there's so much grime on the nut that I had to force the socket on, and it is the right size, but with all that grime it made it bigger, and it's very tight. All right, round two. You know, this really isn't the way I like to do things, but it may not seem like it on camera. I really did exhaust every other means I had, so that's why I resulted to this. If you have a torch and you can heat up those bolts, that would probably work just as well. But if you don't, then there are other ways. Hey, we did it. Yep, touch that. It's not hot. Whoa. That was pretty good. Okay, now there's normally two bolts on this guy down here on the bottom, but one of them was broken. So that's why that happened. There's one more on that side holding my bumper on. So we'll have to either cut that off or undo it somehow because it is one stuck SOB. Out of all the things you think would be hard to do on a Jeep, this has been a pain in the butt. With your factory bumper out of the way, it's going to be ugly and it's going to look something like this. This Jeep wasn't super dirty to begin with, but there's just a ton of dirt and all kinds of other stuff in here. So at this point, I'm going to take the Jeep out and clean all that out before we start installing the new bumper. Okay, so the rear of the Jeep is cleaned and it's drying. While it's drying, let's take a second to look at this rear XJ bumper from Affordable Off-Road. Obviously, one of the first things that come to mind is that this is a huge improvement over your factory bumper. Obviously it is. It's also a lot more than that. It has 1-inch D-ring mounts that go completely through the bumper and are welded on the back side as well as the front. It has a lot of utilitarian purposes. You can drag logs out of the way, you can tow people out, people can tow you out, all kinds of stuff. Not only that, but it's also a 2-inch receiver for towing without the compromise of ground clearance. So you're really getting a lot here, not only a quality American-made bumper, but also a tow hitch as well. So you're a lot of value in this bumper for sure. With the Jeep all cleaned up and dry, our bumper battle can resume. These are 15mm bolts, and these 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4, is exactly where your new bumper is going to mount to. You're going to reuse these bolts too for your new bumper. That makes installation really easy and helps keep your shop or garage clean because it helps reduce the accumulation of random bolts, which I'm sure you have plenty of if you can relate to me at all. All right, so let's begin taking these things off. Once your bumper mounts are out of the way, you're going to want to come in here and clean these threads the best you can. I also clean the bolts. I brushed their threads and I have them soaking in PB Blaster right now. To clean these, I'm going to use my Dremel tool and come in here and just try to spin that debris out of there the best I can. We're ready to lift this up and check fitment. Affordable Off-Road is pretty clever. that they cut these big notches out of the bottom sides of their 1/4 inch thick mounts where they go up here. And what that does is it allows accommodation for your nut strips for a tow package. In this case, looks like my fuel tank heat shield is threaded into this nut strip, and there isn't one on this side. As soon as you get that first bolt started, the bumper will pretty much stay put. And then from there you just need a 15mm deep socket and a ratchet, and you can pretty much access all of them trouble-free. Okay, so I fit this up just with 2 bolts on top just to make sure it's going to fit, and I can see that it does. So before I bolt this completely up, I'm going to paint it right now. I'm going to paint the back side of the mounts where they go here in the back of the bumper, and the bottom I'll probably leave the top and face unpainted because it'll be easy for me to hit those once it's bolted up to the Jeep. Okay, so I got a little ambitious and ended up painting the whole thing. I used denatured alcohol to wipe the bumper down to clean any oil residues off of it. I then used Rust-Oleum self-etching primer and Rust-Oleum semi-gloss protective enamel for the paint. And it came out pretty good. It's cold here in Southern Oregon. It's about 30 degrees outside, and I painted this 2 hours ago. It's still a little bit tacky, but I'm trying to get this video done. So I'm installing it, trying to be careful not to touch it. I was looking at Affordable Off-Road's website, and one of their customers had this bumper on, a 97-01, with the factory plastic end caps back on the Jeep, and it gave it a really nice clean look. I'm not exactly sure how he did that, so I'm going to try to figure that out with you guys today. As soon as you get all 8 of your bolts started, center up your bumper. I used a sliding square to determine where the edge of the bumper lined up with the body, and I just split that difference side to side until it was centered. Once you have that established, you can tighten down all your bolts, and that's it as far as the install. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the time in this video to figure out the end caps with you guys like I previously mentioned. I wanted to get these end caps to fit flush on the bumper, and they do look okay. There's a little gap on the bottom, which you can see over here on this one and around the side, and that isn't a problem. This bumper isn't designed to work with these end caps. They just so happen to fit over the end. But because the bumper has an upward taper to give you more ground clearance, the factory end caps are left with a gap on the bottom. It's no big deal, and if you're running an older XJ with just the small bumper caps, you're probably not even going to bother with them anyways. I was just trying to keep this XJ kind of stock looking and clean, and it still looks fine. I don't have a problem with it personally, but I'm not going to be able to get to that in this video. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you watching. Please check out BleepinJeep.com. Thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoy this kind of thing. Also check out AffordableOffroad.com. In the video description we'll have links to their eBay store, their Facebook, and their website. So check those guys out. They have a lot of different bumpers and other off-road parts. They make builders parts too. And big thanks goes to the guys at Affordable Off-Road. Without their help, my last 3 videos wouldn't have been possible. So thank you guys very much. Alright, well once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Hey guys, do you think you can make a video as good or better than this one? If so, we'd love for you to join our team. A lot of people don't know this, but YouTube actually pays when people watch your videos. You know those little ads that pop up before the video? If a viewer watches those for 30 seconds or longer, the advertiser has to pay YouTube, and in turn YouTube has to pay you. Also, those little ads that pop up at the bottom of the video, in the middle of the video, if somebody clicks those, then you get paid as well. So we are looking for more partners to join and grow our YouTube channel. If you want to do any kind of videos that pertain to Jeeps or off-roading, welding, building things, that kind of thing, make a video, let me see it, and we'll let you know if you make the cut or not. So thanks for watching. Again, make sure to like and subscribe, tell your friends about us, and we'll see you in the next video.